Good morning. Time to make the coffee. Today's
I'm
coffee.
not quite sure how to help you with that.
Thank you. Today's flavor is cinnamon churro, and it's going to be 79 degrees. It is raining a little bit, sprinkling this morning, but that's a good thing. We need a little bit of rain. So, hopefully I can stay home today. That would be lovely. And just get some things done around here. I'm not having any big projects planned. I'm just sort of eating the elephant one bite at a time. That's what I'm trying to do. So, as long as I get something done every day, I feel like it's been a successful day in as far as working towards my goals. But I do a lot of resting in between, otherwise I get too sore, and then I can't do anything for a couple days. So I have it down to a system. So anyway, I won't be doing anything outside, at least not this morning. A couple more chores out there. I still didn't take down my fountain, but tomorrow is supposed to be really nice too. So maybe if it's not wet and rainy, I can sit out there one more time, and then maybe towards the end of the day I'll get it taken down. The flowers are still hanging in there, so it hasn't been quite cold enough to kill them, but they're looking pretty spindly by now and not really blooming much. So it's about time to pull them out and clean up the deck. So I ran out of chocolate creamer, totally out. So I have a Walmart order in the cart, a delivery order. So I'm just going to have some of the oat milk creamer, and this is coffee cake. I think that'll be good with the cinnamon churro coffee. So I have to refill my little coffee drawers. I have a stash, so not to worry. I still have plenty of coffee, which is good. So, all right, cheers. All right, that will do. So I've kind of had a little bit of a change of heart in as far as the water bath canner goes. I ended up putting it from my cart into saved for later, because the main thing that I did want to can was vegetables. At some point I may decide to can fruit or something along those lines, but I know you can water bath can vegetables too. There's a method where you add a little vinegar to the water, and then you process it for a number of hours, 2 or 3 hours, and I don't know. I think it would just be easier to pressure can the vegetables, and I do have a pressure canner. I've had it for a long time. But it kind of scares me a little bit to use it, so I just have to put on my big girl pants and give it a try. My biggest fear is that the containers will burst in the pressure cooker. So, I mean, it's like an electric pressure canner, pressure cooker. So, like an Instant Pot. It's not the Instant Pot brand, but it's a knockoff brand. So maybe I'll give that a try. I would like to can some dried beans. And I know Homestead Tessie, I think, had a video a long time ago where she actually took dried beans, put in her seasoning, put in water, and then canned the beans. I don't remember how she did the process, but I know she has a lot of canners and pressure canners and water bath canners, and she's really into canning. So, but anyway, and some of her canning methods are not necessarily, in my opinion, are the conventional way to can, but a lot of our ancestors canned that way, and most of them were okay. Now, with canning, there is always a tiny risk of some sort of bugaboo getting in there, but that doesn't happen very often. So anyway, that is right now my Amazon cart is empty, and today I'm supposed to be getting my saw and a couple of other things. Some touch lamps that are rechargeable. It was 2 for something, some amount, like 2 for $49 or something. And then a little rechargeable herb grinder. So those are all things that will be very useful to me. And the touch lamps I can use in places where they're rechargeable, where I don't want to see a cord hanging because it's in the middle of the room. So, all right, well, I will meet you over there at the budget book. Okay, it's budget book time. Yesterday I didn't spend any money. In fact, I moved things out of my Amazon cart into my Save for Later. Things I wanted to have a little bit more thought about before I purchase. And that's the way I've been buying most things lately. Trying not to impulse buy, but rather make an informed purchase after I think about, am I really going to use this? Am I really going to need this? Do I have something similar that I can use instead? All these things I try and ask myself before I actually go ahead and purchase something. And what is the reason that I'm buying this? I've been sort of on a mission to buy things that are useful as opposed to just pretty or nice or something nice to look at. I'm sort of a maximalist, so I have a lot of nice things that I like to look at. They make me happy. And it's not that I'm that much into materialism. It's the feeling that I get when I'm sitting in my kitchen and I'm looking at the food I have and the spices that I have, and they're out on display, and they give me ideas of what I want to cook, what makes me happy. I have a lot of little gnome type things, a lot of home signs, because this is home. And when I see these things, it makes me happy. A lot of people, would think if you have a lot of things that, oh, I feel so oppressed, it's too much stuff. And I get that. I really do. I mean, there's times where it's time to sort of downsize a little bit on the stuff and make it so that, yeah, I like looking at these things. This thing I'm not real crazy about anymore, so I don't like looking at it anymore, so then it'll go. But that's what I enjoy in my home. I always felt very cozy and happy when I walk into these little shops where they have all these things displayed, or even, I'm not a thrift store person, but every once in a while I'll walk into a thrift store, and they're usually expensive, but they have all these old things displayed in such a nice manner that it gives you a warm and cozy feeling. And that's how I feel about my home. I don't feel like this stuff is really clutter. It's stuff I enjoy looking at. I'll look at something and it'll bring back sometimes a memory of where I bought it, and it gives me a nice feeling. So we're all different in that regard, whether we're minimalist or maximalist or somewhere in between. And there's a difference between being a maximalist and a hoarder. A hoarder just has a lot of random things, oftentimes in boxes, and they don't even know what they have, and they just keep buying and stacking things up and not enjoying what they've bought. But I enjoy what I bought. I like the feeling that I get. Like I said, these little novelty shops. I'm not talking about the junky novelty things, I'm talking about some of the artesian things that people make, and then they sell them and display them in these little shops, and I enjoy that. So we're all different, which is really nice, and we all purchase different things. Now, I've been doing a lot of purchasing of prepping things, just because of the state of the world. And unfortunately, not talking about it ever really doesn't do you any good. Sometimes talking about it to people that feel the same way you do gets your feelings out, and then you feel better. I'm not talking about fear-mongering. That's a totally different animal. I'm talking about your concerns with somebody that is of like mind. You don't want to talk to these things about people that don't agree with your views, because that just adds more stress. You want to find people that are of like mind that you can talk about with these different things. So I kind of jumped around a little bit right there, but so anyway, getting back to the budget, it does relate to that, because if somebody enjoys their wardrobe, or they enjoy collecting coloring books or gnomes or yarn or whatever it is they like, then if you can afford it, why not do it? And if somebody that is not into that, like, oh, why do you have so many gnomes? Well, I like them. They make me happy when I look at them in my little plants. And, yeah, it's silly, I'll agree, but if something makes you happy that's in your home, whether you have 1 or 2 or 10 of them, as long as they're not a mess and everywhere and everything has its place, that's great. So anyway, I've been buying a lot of things for prepping still, and things for the garden. I spent a lot of money on the garden this year, and I don't regret that, because it's going to be easier for me in the future to garden. And I don't want so much food that I have to, do bushels and bushels of canning. But, I wouldn't mind canning a half a dozen jars of something, whatever. But my main goal with the garden is to just have enough produce to get me through the summer, maybe like with peppers and things like that, chop them up and freeze them, so that I can use that in the winter. But yeah, I bought a lot of canned goods, and I've been buying canned fruit because I was a little light on that. So yes, I've been spending money on things that are useful. Now today I should be getting my pole saw, and that I can use with my wisteria that just grows like crazy. And also I have a lot of trees around my house, so trimming lower limbs so I can get more sun in my garden area. So things like that, I went ahead and just invested the money in it. The generators, And those are things that make me feel that even if something bad does happen, I'll be somewhat prepared and be able to take care of myself and my family. So anyway, some people will say, well, you'll probably never use it. But that's okay. You're paying for the security. If you have a lot of food, you're paying for the security of having that food available. So, like I said, I'm not talking about hoarding, because at that point you just have so much stuff, none of it's useful, and it's usually bought on impulse, and a lot of times you have buyer's remorse after you buy it. So anyway, I feel like I'm doing okay with my finances. I did finance the one generator, same as cash. That was about $1,000. So I'm paying that off in increments, and I think it was 6 months, same as cash. It was either 4 or 6 months, same as cash. And I'm good with that. But I don't run out and, run up my credit cards every time there's a sale on something like, clothing and things. Now, I do buy clothing once in a while, something comfortable, something that I like to wear that makes me feel good, but I'm not going to run out and buy a ton of dresses because I don't wear them, or dress pants or dress blouses. I pick up casual clothes, something that will keep me warm and comfortable or cool in the summer. So anyway, that was kind of a lengthy chat on my budget book, but I don't plan on spending any money today, but I will be getting my articles that I bought somewhere here around the Red X. So, okay, that's it on my budget book chat for today. Well, this is a burned out candle. These are burned out candles, and I like orange and colors. It makes a very warm throw when you're burning candles. So I want to reuse this container. And I have a lot of candles that I can't burn anymore because there's no wick left. So this morning I'm melting some candles to put into here. And I'm using my mini to do that. Usually I use a cup warmer, but I wanted to see if this would do a good job because I can regulate the temperatures here. So that's what I'm doing this morning. I haven't made any candles in a long time, so I have quite a few to melt down. And it should be enough to fill this back up. And I have wicks on hand, different kinds. So that's what I'll use. It's nap time for the puppies. They're keeping me company while I'm making my candles. And it's a very chill day for all of us here. I'm enjoying the day making candles, and the sun's out. It's a beautiful day. Okay, well, I melted the wax that was left in here, and I'm making it a 2-wick because it's a wide candle. I have these wicks, and this little device is so nice. You can get them on Amazon, and it holds the wick up straight, because when you're using waxed wicks, what happens is when they hit the hot wax, they kind of they don't stand anymore. So this works out perfect. And now I'm just going to melt the rest of the candles and pour the wax in there. And I'll have a brand new $5 candle basically for free. So a couple of the things that I use, I have an old pair of tweezers, and I have a skewer to move things around. I use the tweezers to fish these out. So that's how I make new candles. Sometimes the hardest part is figuring out how many wicks you need to get it to burn right. But if you make a mistake, you can always melt it back down and add another wick. So, okay, I'm doing a fun thing this morning, making candles. This candle is done, and it has glue on the bottom. You don't want to put that in your candle. And this didn't come with a nice bamboo top or anything, so I'm just going to recycle this. But I really like these 3-wick Walmart candles. They're reasonably priced. They're around $4, and they burn a long time, and they burn down very nicely. They burn really well. So I get these every now and then. I put them in my Walmart cart. I have 2 in there now, since I burned up several of them already. So I want to keep stocked up on those. And they have a nice throw, and they have a lot of different scents available too. So I buy these quite often, and I really like them. Hey, this candle is pretty much done, and I'm going to let that cool, and then I'm going to reuse my little gadget here, because I have this really pretty candle jar here that had a candle in it before, and I also put like a little pillar candle in there at one point that burned all the way down. So I'm just melting what's left of the pillar candle, and I have another candle here that didn't burn right. This was a homemade candle my daughter made, but she used wine. They used wine bottles. She made these with her girlfriend, with her friend. And what happened was, wine bottles are great for making candles, but you don't want a candle with that kind of bottom, because what happens is the wick slides down, and then it can break the glass because it burns against the glass. So I'm going to reuse that candle. She gave us this one, so I'm going to reuse that and put it in here. Now you can do a couple of different things. You can either, if you mix all kinds of colors of candles, you'll end up with a brown candle, which I don't mind. It's like a light brown. I don't mind that, but sometimes when you have a clear candle like this, it's nice to have layers. So what you do then is you melt the bottom layer, put your wick in, like usual, and let it completely cool before you put your next color candle, and then you'll have a striped candle with different scents as it burns down. So, and of course, if you mix them all together, you're going to come up with who knows what kind of fragrance, but I don't mind that either. So, I always have a lot of candle bottoms left. So that's what I do, and I've made other videos about my candles, but I'll tell you, this works the best. This My Mini for burning them down, and I have that set on about, just a little bit below low, and that's the perfect temperature on this one. You have to kind of play around with it a little bit. And also what it does is, if they have labels on the bottom, like this one, I leave the label on. It doesn't burn the label, but I leave it on until I'm done with that candle, and then I pull it off. That way, if there's any glue on the bottom, it doesn't get onto my little burner. So anyway, yep, that's what I'm doing, making candles. And I bought this sugar. It's raw sugar in Amish country. It was $3.59. That was a couple weeks ago. And when I get containers like this, sometimes nuts come in them, pretzels, all kinds of things. I always save them. They're nice, sturdy containers with a nice size lid. You can tape an oxygen absorber on there. Now sometimes the labels that they have stuck on there, you can't get them off without making a big mess. So what I do, I have sheets of this chalkboard. It's like contact paper, and I just cut it to size, and then I label it. As you can see, I've had other things in here. So now the sugar is going to live in here. And then I have some shelving in part of my prepper pantry where I keep my flowers and things like that. And it fits just perfectly on those shelves. So let me show you that. And yeah, so always save these. You can put all kinds of things in there: oats, rice, flour, beans, whatever. Now they are not airtight, but if you put an oxygen absorber in there, I think you'll be fine, depending on what it is. So that's something I always save, besides glass jars. But I just have too many glass jars, so I'm going to be purging some of those. I've already purged some, but the only candle jars I'm keeping now are the pretty ones, and I just reuse them over and over. So let me show you where I put these. Okay, so this is how I store them. These are my basement stairs, and it had a ledge here, and so I save all these different containers and put different things in there, label them, and it has flour, oats, different kinds of sugars, whatever I want to store, my TVP. So, and it goes quite high up. And this is a little spice cabinet that I picked up at a thrift store from Amish country. Just has spices in it. And I'm going to add another shelf up there, a shelf I just had randomly hanging around. And then I can store some more things there. So if you have a random space in your house, think about turning it into a little pantry for your preps or your things that you use all the time. Now this is kind of actually part of my working pantry. So that's what I do. My order came from Amazon, and I ordered 2 of these. I'm charging them right now. They need to be charged, and they're Roria table lamps, set of 2. And I mean, you could plug them into a USB port as well, but they turn on here, and I'm not affiliated with these. I just bought these on my own dime. But you touch the little button, and they have different brightnesses. Or you can turn it off. So I like it. They're like a bronzy color. They look black on the video, but they're not. They're like a bronze color. So those are going in my living room in a couple different places. And they'll come in handy during a power outage. Or I have a place next to my chair where I don't have a plug because it's in the middle of the room. So I'll put one lamp there. So okay. That's nice. And then I also got my mini chainsaw pole saw. Haven't opened that yet. And I got my herb grinder, but it's corded. I wasn't paying attention. So I'm going to send that back because I wanted a cordless one. So anyway, there we have it. I like the lamps though. And they were about $40-some. I don't recall off the top of my head. So I've been busy today. I've been cleaning up my kitchen and making candles. Cleaned up my dishes. These are from Candles. So I gotta wash those. But yeah, it's been a very relaxing day. And I've been enjoying it. Okay, well that was my day today. I don't have to cook. I still have some of that textured vegetable protein meat not meat, with some gravy that I can have. I also still have some soup left that I cooked, I don't know, maybe 3 days ago, whenever it was. So I don't have to cook, which is always nice. And I like to cook for like 2 or 3 meals, but I don't eat it all in a row. I cook enough for each dish. I cook double at least, and then just enough small portions. I don't want to eat the same thing for a week, and I'll cook maybe 3 different things, and then I'll have a nice variety throughout the week when I don't feel like cooking. I also keep things stocked in the freezer, like frozen pizzas or frozen pot pie, French fries. I have vegetarian hot dogs, just things like that. And that way I don't have to cook all the time. Frozen meatballs, not meatballs. So that's the way I like to cook. Sometimes I love to cook, sometimes I don't feel like cooking. So either way works out for me. And I can eat delicious food that I like to my own taste. And I don't constantly have to be running out to the store because I use what I have in the house. And I also don't buy fast food very often. So it works out okay. It's food that I like at a reasonable price. And hopefully at some point in the future the prices will start coming down. Now I did notice when I was putting things into my Walmart cart, which I haven't bought yet, the bread, the Italian bread, is reduced back down to $1. It was up to $1, I don't know, 45 or something, but they've did a price rollback on that, and I like that bread. I think it's very tasty. And you can make a lot of things out of it. It's got a nice texture, it's not too soft, it's not too dry. So I like to keep that on hand, and I also like to keep a loaf of Schwabel's Jewish rye, so then I can switch out depending on what I'm having with it. So I always keep those. And if it's too big, because that Jewish rye is big, and so I'll freeze portions of it. And the same way with the Italian bread, so that I don't get sick of eating the same thing day after day after day. So, all right, my friends, well, it's that time. It's actually almost 4 o'clock, and so it's time for me to put my feet up for a little bit, because the old back is starting to give out. I've been up on my feet, not working hard, doing fun things, but still, as the day goes on, I just go, I turn into the Incredible Shrinking Woman. So, it's time. But I enjoyed today. I really did. I liked making the candles, and it enabled me to get rid of some glass stuff that was sitting around. So, I purged some of the candles that weren't in a real attractive jar. I can't see keeping those unless you have a great idea about what to do with them. Leave it in the comments below if there's something special that you do with your old candle jars. I know I tried to look up to see which number, because they have numbers on the bottom, and I tried to look up which ones are food safe. They used to have a chart with the different numbers on it. And I wish I would have printed it out, but I don't know if all glass is food safe now. I don't think so, but I don't know. If you know, let me know in the comments below. So, all right, my friends, that's all I have for you today. I want to wish you abundant blessings. I love you guys. Be good to yourself. Be good to others. God bless you, and I'll see you next time. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, comment, and like. It helps my channel grow. Don't forget to share, and thanks for watching.